The Amon Carter coin had been a dream coin of mine ever since I got back into coin collecting in 1996. I had seen the picture of it out of the holder where it's just glowing with mint frost, and it just really stuck in my mind that, wow, this coin's really special. You don't see coins that old that have that vibrancy left on the surfaces, and always was keeping an eye out for where it was. Turned out that it was in the Knoxville collection, and when Steve Contursi brokered the collection back in the early 2001 time period, was quite interested, but he had paid $2 million when he figured the deal, and was asking $5 million, and we couldn't understand the price at the time, not having seen the coin, not knowing that it was a specimen that and then Martin ended up doing the research and writing the book, Martin Logies, pretty much definitively proving that it's the earliest known struck specimen. It's of the same die state as the copper pattern in the Smithsonian. If you make the logical conclusion that if you were going to save a specimen, it would be the first one, then this is the first U.S. dollar. In addition, it has the silver plug feature, which almost makes me wonder if it wasn't a specimen where they're showing what they can do with the silver plug. They struck it about the same time as the copper coin, and then decided to hold off, that they didn't do quite as well a job with it as they did in 1795, the year after. So it's possible that it's even a pattern. I'm not sure.
When it came to that coin, where your winning bid with buyer's premium hit a record price of $10 million, it had previously been reported that it had held the record for the most money paid for a coin in a private treaty sale, where it is said to have sold for $7.85 million. Knowing that, did you go into the Cardinal sale knowing that you would have to put up an even bigger number to take that coin home?
Yes, and we had heard through intermediaries what we thought was their price, and we had also heard that a person who wasn't necessarily an active coin collector but was interested in trophy items was interested. And quite frankly, based on Martin's research, the coin should be in a museum, and I was concerned that a public entity might buy it and keep it off the market forever. And so I honestly thought that was probably my last chance to ever acquire what had been a dream coin for me for 2 decades. And we knew that we would probably have to pay $9 million to buy it, based on the numbers that we were hearing floating out there. And we decided that if we were going to pay 9 for it, we were going to pay 10. So, that the notoriety of it being the first coin to break the $10 million mark, would be well worth the extra cost. And in fact, our top bid was in the $13 million range, just because I consider the coin to be absolutely priceless. It's really something that shouldn't even be available to the collecting public. Based on Martin's research, it really truly belongs in a museum, and I'm very proud to own it.
You keep saying the word museum, Bruce. Are you suggesting that a museum might be the next home for the 1794 specimen dollar?
I don't think so, and the reason that I say that is because I'm a little bit disappointed with coins and museums. They're not super popular. I've gone and viewed the display at the Smithsonian, and then they tore it apart. Probably that didn't enhance their people coming through. So in general, coin displays at museums keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and even the National Numismatic Collection. So I don't think that that's the proper way to go about it. Now, what Harry Bass did, where he made it so that his collection was available to the ANA for a time period upon his death, that might be attractive. I don't know. Well, I'm only 58. We'll see.
One last question. Putting aside $1 million mint state examples for a moment, every $1794 is rare, and it would be the centerpiece of someone's collection. As someone who has owned a number of them, what would be the thing that you would suggest collectors look for when choosing a coin for their collection?
Well, now that you say that, it reminds me that I've actually owned 3 of them, because I had owned an XF40 that I think is right up the alley of what you're talking about. It had resided with the same family for a long time. The surfaces were original, unmessed with, had a decent bit of luster and a very good strike. And so in my mind, that's the criteria that you would look for in a circulated coin. Particular on this issue, because when the die's canted and strike of the date, strike of the stars, strike of the legend on the reverse became an issue. And so if you can find a coin that's got a bold date, bold stars, bold legend, minimum of adjustment marks, and not been cleaned, then you've got something special. And certainly the coin that I used to own, the XF40, met that criteria and was very desirable. And so those are the criteria that I would look for. You don't have to go for the unks, the gem unks, to have a piece of history.
Well, folks, that's great advice from one of the top collectors in the history of our hobby. Bruce, thank you so much for your time.